Irina, I have to get better at looking at questions while I do these videos. I'm such a novice at all this. So Irina pointed out that there was a really important question around forgiveness that my last video didn't address. So going live again, 2 in 1 night, yay. Oy. So the other thing about forgiveness that's really important is understanding the difference between forgiveness and repairing trust. And this took me a while to figure out. And when I figured it out, it was like a game changer. Because one of the things that is really hard about forgiveness is that it feels unsafe sometimes to forgive someone because it feels like then we might be in a dangerous position where they could hurt us again. And the thing about forgiveness is that when we forgive someone, what we're doing is releasing our attachment to the wound. We're not saying that we trust them again. And there's a really big difference because when we forgive someone, we can forgive them and release kind of the attachment to the wound, and they no longer have the power to make us feel bad or lousy or any of those things, but we aren't repairing trust with them. And that means that we're not going to let them come close. We're not going to let them be in the position to hurt us again. So if someone were to hurt me, and I forgive them right away because I know that releases me from that heaviness of the wound, but they haven't apologized. They haven't demonstrated that they understand what they did and why it was hurtful. They don't demonstrate that they care about my feelings because let's be honest, no one is perfect. So people that we love are going to hurt us and they're going to do their best. And hopefully they're going to show us that they care about us and they care about our feelings and they understand what happened, or if they don't, they'll talk to us about it, but you'll go into some process to repair the trust so you can kind of be close again and have that intimacy again. But sometimes people are going to hurt us and they're not going to be able to repair the trust right away, or maybe never at all. So if we have someone in our life that hurts us and maybe they're not ready to talk to us about it or apologize, we may need to forgive them right away because that's what we need to do to rise above it and not kind of give our power away to them. But we may need to have space and distance with that person for a while until they're able to, or we're able to repair the trust, because it's a two-way street. And we have to be, ready to trust them again. And we have to find some way for them to kind of show us that they're ready to repair the trust and they're able to repair the trust. Again, that can look entirely different depending on the situation. I mean, if it's someone on the street that you don't know very well, it's not going to be a big deal. But if it's like someone that you're really close to, if it's a close friend and they let you down and they aren't able to talk to you about it, you may not feel comfortable with them for a while, and you may not, want to spend time with them. You may not, want to have them in your life until they're able to talk to you about it and either apologize or able to demonstrate that they understand what happened and they aren't going to do it again, or you're able to kind of rise above it and be like, you know what, in the moment, because I've had this happen too. I've had friends really hurt my feelings, and then I sit with it for a while and I realize that, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. It was hurtful, but I can see how it was some of my own issues that it hurt me in the first place. And I know they were doing their best and they were kind of in a tough spot, and they weren't as kind of gracious as in a perfect world they would be, but I love them and I know they love me, and I can just forgive them, and I don't actually need to repair the trust because I realize that in the end, it's not that big of a deal what they did. But sometimes, someone hurts you and it is a big deal, and you can't be close with them until you're able to have a conversation where they, demonstrate that they can be trusted with your heart again. And that is a really, really tough, painful thing. And in my blog, I wrote about something that's going on for me right now where someone I really care about, has hurt me. And we haven't repaired trust. We haven't been able to do that. And so the original thing that happened was painful, and I had to forgive that. But the fact that we haven't repaired trust is still painful. And so literally every day something will spark and it's painful and it hurts my heart. And so I have to keep practicing forgiveness every day. And I may have to continue to do that, for a long time. I mean, the deeper and more intimate the relationship you have with someone, the harder it is and the more painful it's going to be. So practicing forgiveness can be a daily thing. And the repairing of trust may need to be a process too, because sometimes you can start to repair the trust, and you start to kind of regain a connection, and you have to do it kind of gingerly, and there may need to be a lot of steps in the repairing of the trust, depending on how big the breach of the trust was. So forgiveness, super important, but a totally different thing than repairing trust. But recognizing that it's a different thing kind of empowers us to forgive, because forgiveness, do it as soon as possible. As soon as you realize that there's something that is painful, that either you did to yourself, that you're bringing yourself down into shame or guilt, or someone else did something that hurt you, forgive right away. And then look at the situation and recognize that there may be some space and some time before you're able to repair trust. But forgiving someone in no way puts you in kind of harm's way, right? Forgiveness does not mean you go back into the line of fire with someone. You can forgive them and keep that distance. So thank you, Irina, for reminding me to talk about forgiveness versus repairing trust, because it is a super, super important distinction to empower us to forgive, easier, more frequently, and feel safe forgiving, and knowing that there's a whole separate process for repairing trust that we can do in our own time, and that may take a while. But forgiveness, just dive right in, do that right away. So thank you so much for listening twice in one night. I appreciate it again, Irina, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.